subscribe and click the notification bell. Welcome to Project Matulungan para Matuto. We were done in discussing the measures of position for ungrouped data. This time, I am going to focus in discussing quartiles for grouped data. Here are the steps in calculating quartiles of grouped data. Step 1. Construct the cumulative frequency distribution. Step 2. Decide the class that contains q sub k using the formula k times n all over 4. Step 3. Calculate a specified measures of position of a set of data using the formula q sub k is equal to the lower boundary plus k times n all over 4 minus the cumulative frequency before the class all over the frequency of the class times the class size, wherein LB is equal to the lower boundary of the q sub k class, n is the total frequency, CFB is equal to the cumulative frequency of the class before the q sub k class, FQK is equal to the frequency of the q sub k class, and I is equal to the size of class interval or class width. And K is equal to the n quartile, wherein n is equal to 1, 2, and 3. Let us have our example number 1. Calculate the quartile 2 of the grade 10 STE Mathematics test of 60 students, wherein the table is presented on the screen. So yung grades natin and the frequency, 96 to 100, 3, 91 to 95 is 4, 86 to 96, 81 to 85 is 10, 76 to 80 is 23, 71 to 75, there are 4, 66 to 70, there are 6, 61 to 65, there are 4, and the total of n is equal to 60. So let us have our solution is construct the cumulative frequency distribution. So using the distribution, so the class interval, the first column is the class interval, wherein we have the lower limit and the upper limit. Next column is the frequency, represented by the small letter f. Third column is the lower boundaries, wherein makukuha natin ang lower boundaries by subtracting 0.5 from the lower limit. Then we have the fourth column, less than cumulative frequency. Okay, so kompletuhin muna natin ang ating cumulative frequency distribution table. So since we have already the class interval which is taken from the given table and the frequency ang galing din sa table natin, let us complete the third column which is the lower boundaries. So ang lower boundaries natin ay lower limits minus 0.5. So saan ba ang lower limit natin? So ang lower limit natin ay matatagpuan sa part na ito. So ito yung mga tinatawag nating lower limit. So itong mga part na ito, we have to subtract 0.5 para makuha natin yung lower boundaries. So simulan natin sa first, which is the 61. So 61 minus 0.5 is 60.5. Next to that is 66 minus 0.5 is 65.5. 71 minus 0.5, that is 70.5. Next is 76 minus 0.5, that is 75.5. Next is 81 minus 0.5, that is 80.5. Next, 86 minus 0.5, that is 85.5. 91 minus 0.5, that is 90.5. And the last lower limit is 96 minus 0.5, which is 95.5. So doon natin nakuha yung lower boundaries. Again, ang lower boundaries natin is the lower limit, yung ating part na na-box kanina on the first column sa class interval, minus 0.5 lamang tayo. Okay, so we're done with the third column. Next to it is the less than cumulative frequency. So, kompletuhin naman natin. So, ang less than cumulative frequency naman ay nakabase naman sa frequency ng ating table. So, since lagi tayong mag-i-start sa baba. So, if you can see, 4, so mag-start tayo whatever the number doon sa pinakababang part, doon tayo mag-i-start. At yung 4 na yan, paano natin i-continue? I-add lang natin yung ating frequency na nakita dito. Kung ano yung sumusunod doon sa number, yun ang i-add natin. So 4. So ano ang sumusunod sa 4? We have 6. So therefore, 4 plus 6 is equal to 10. Saan natin nakuha yung 10? I-add lang natin yung magkasunod. Yung 4, since we started from 4. So 4 plus 6 is equals to 10. Then 10, ano susunod sa 6 is 4. So 10 plus 4. So 10 plus 4, yun naman siya. Okay, so is equal to 14. Okay, so 10 plus 4 is equal to 14. Next is 14 plus 23. 14 plus 23 is equal to 37. Then 37 plus 10 is equal to 47. 47 plus 6 is equal to 53. Then 53 plus 4 is equal to 57, and 57 plus 3 is equal to 60. So, dapat yung last number na ma-i-add natin doon sa taas, yung total number which is 60, dapat ay mag-equal siya sa total number of frequency. So, we all know naman ang total number of frequency natin ay 60. Kaya yung sa part ng less than cumulative frequency, mag-e-end din tayo whatever the total number of the frequency. We're done in completing the cumulative frequency distribution. Let us move on to our step 2. Decide the class that contains Q sub k using the formula Kn all over 4. So ano ba ang K natin? Take note, ang hinahanap natin ay the quartile 2. Therefore, ang K natin ay 2. Ang N naman natin is nakadepende sa total number of frequency. So, ang frequency natin ay 60. Therefore, ang N natin ay 60. Now, let us substitute the value sa ating formula. So, Kn, so K is 2 and N is 60. So, 2 times 60 all over 4. So, 2 times 60 is equal to 120 all over 4. And 120 divided by 4 is equal to 30. So, dito nakadepende yung ating pinahanap na position which is the quartile 2. So, ngayon, yung nakuha nating value sa step 2 na 30, hahanapin natin ito ngayon sa fourth column or what we call the less than cumulative frequency. Okay. So, kung titignan natin, yung 30, magsisimula tayo dito sa 4, hindi siya pwede dito sa 4. Sa 10, hindi rin siya pwede sa 10. Saan natin makikita ang 30 na o saan napapaloob yung 30 sa ating less than cumulative frequency? So, makikita natin siya sa 37. Dito siya nakapaloob sa 37. Hindi naman pwede sa 14 kasi kulang yung ating data. Okay? So, therefore, nakapaloob siya sa 37. So, ibig sabihin, dito natin makikita yung ating quartile 2. This part is what we call the quartile 2 position. Okay? So, yan yung ating magiging position ng ating quartile 2. So, nakadepende yung ating step 2 at nakadepende din yung ating data sa value natin sa step 2 na kung saan i-compare natin ito at hahanapin natin ito sa value ng less than cumulative frequency. Again, yung 37 ang basehan natin kasi dito nakapaloob yung 30 na nakuha natin sa step 2. Next, let us proceed to our step 3. Calculate a specified measures of position of a set of data using the formula. So, alam naman natin yung formula kanina, yung formula ng step 3. But before that, let us identify first yung mga given natin na magagamit natin sa formula. First is the lower boundary. Okay, ano ba yung lower boundary natin? Ang lower boundary natin based doon sa data natin na kung saan nakalocate ang quartile 2 ay 75.5. Therefore, ang lower boundary natin ay 75.5. Next naman, ang ating cumulative frequency before the class. Remember, before. So, ang cumulative frequency natin doon sa quartile 2 natin ay 37. But we're looking for before. So, ano ba yung before? Which is 14. So, bago mag-ating cumulative frequency ng ating quartile 2 ay 14. So, therefore, ang CFB natin ay 14. Next to that is the frequency of the quartile 2. So, ang frequency natin ay 23. Okay? Then, ang class size natin, nakadepende naman saan natin makikita ang class size. Ito ay nasa range ng class interval natin from lower limit to upper limit. So, remember, yung 61 to 65, 61, 62, 63, 64, and 65. So, there are 5. Therefore, ang class size natin ay 5. And then, yung K natin, so ang hinahanap natin ay quartile 2, K natin ay 2. At ang ating N, yung ating total frequency ay 60. Now, let us use all of these values sa ating formula. I-substitute na natin sa formula natin ng quartile, which is Q sub K. Yung ating lower boundary na 75.5, sinubstitute na natin. Yung value ng K natin na 2 times N, which is 60, all over 4. So, ito siya. Minus the cumulative frequency before the class, which is 14, all over 23, which is the value of the frequency, times the class size, which is 5. Next to that is, let us simplify. Simplify muna natin yung 2 times 60 divided by 4. So, therefore, 75.5 plus 2 times 60 divided by 4 is 30 minus 14 all over 23 times 5. Now, let us simplify naman yung 30 minus 14. So, 75.5 plus 30 minus 14 is 16 divided by 23 times 5. So, i-divide naman muna natin yung 16 divided by 23. So, 75.5 plus 16 divided by 23 is 0.696. Next to that is i-multiply naman natin yung 0.696 times 5, which is 3.48 plus 75.5. Therefore, ang ating value ng quartile 2 is equal to 78.98. Ibig sabihin yan, 50% of the grade 10 STE students mathematics test is less than or equal to 78.98. Next, let us proceed to our example number 2. Calculate the quartile 3 of the grade 10 STE mathematics test of 60 students. So, ang table natin ay nandyan. So, again, using that table, so since meron tayong table, means ito ay tumutukoy sa group data. Now, let us have our solution. So, ang step 1 natin, construct the cumulative frequency distribution. So, ang first column natin is the class interval containing the lower limit and the upper limit based on the table presented doon sa given natin. And then, the frequency is also based on the table na pinakita doon sa ating given. The third column is the lower boundaries. Makukuha natin siya by subtracting 0.5 sa ating lower limit. Then the less than cumulative frequency, which is also based sa ating frequency. So remember, ito yung ating lower limit natin. You just have to subtract 0.5 of it. So 61 minus 0.5, that is 60.5. 66 minus 0.5, that is 65.5. 71.0.5, that is 70.5. 76.0.5, that is 75.5, 81 minus 0.5, that is 80.5, 86 minus 0.5, that is 85.5, 91 minus 0.5, that is 90.5, and 96 minus 0.5, that is 95.5. Next to that is the cumulative frequency. So we have to start from the lowest part, which is 4. and 4, you just have to add what is next to that number, which is 4 plus 6 is equal to 10. 10 plus 4, that is 14. 14 plus 23, that is 37. 37 plus 10, that is 47. 47 plus 6, that is 53. 53 plus 4, that is 57. And 57 plus 3 is equal to 60. Remember, the last number na makukuha natin after adding the numbers on the frequency ay dapat magtali at magparehas doon sa total frequency sa given natin, which is also 60, at 60 din yung ating last number na nakuha sa less than cumulative frequency. Now, let us move to our step 2 kapag natapos na yung ating cumulative frequency distribution, which is decide the class that contains Q sub k using the formula Kn all over 4. Okay, ang K naman natin this time, since quartile 3 ang hinahanap natin, ang value ng K natin ay 3 at ang value ng N pa rin natin ay 60 dahil ang total na frequency natin ay 60. Now, i-substitute natin sa ating equation, which is Kn all over 4. So, 3 times 60 divided by 4. So, 3 times 60, that is 180 divided by 4. 180 divided by 4 is equal to 45. So, ngayon yung 45 na yan, hahanapin natin sa less than cumulative frequency. So, kung titignan natin ang ating distribution table, ang 45 ay nakapaloob sa cumulative frequency na 47. Diyan natin makikita diyan nakapaloob yung 45 na na-compute natin sa step 2. So, hindi pwede sa 37 kasi si 37 ay kulang. Kulang pa dahil 45 yung nakuha. So, therefore, we have to step up. Kaya doon tayo sa 47 kasi si 47, nandyan nakapaloob ang 45 na nakuha nating value sa step 2. So, therefore, yung part na yan yung ating position ng quartile 3. Now, let us move on sa ating step 3, which is calculate a specified measures of position of a set of data using the formula. Okay, identify na natin yung mga data natin. So, lower boundary natin is 80.5, correct? Ang ating cumulative frequency before, take note, before the class, which is 37, very good. And our frequency ng ating class ay 10. So, therefore, 10 ang ating frequency. Ang ating class size, hindi nagbago, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. So, there are 5. Ang K natin ay nagbago, which is 3 dahil ang hinahanap natin ay quartile 3. Ang N natin ay 60 pa rin based on the total frequency. Now, gamitin natin itong mga value na to para i-substitute sa ating formula na quartiles of group data. So, i-substitute na natin ang value ng lower boundaries, which is 80.5. Tapos 3 times 60 all over 4 minus 37 all over 10 times the class size, which is 5. So, i-simplify na natin. 3 times 60 divided by 4, that is 45 minus 37 all over 10 times 5. So, 45 minus 37 is 8 divided by 10 times 5. So, simplify muna natin nasa loob. So, 8 divided by 10 is 0.8. Now, i-multiply naman natin ang 0.8 sa 5. Kaya 0.8 times 5 is 4. And i-add natin sa ating lower boundary na 80.5. Therefore, ang value ng ating quartile 3 is equal to 84.5. Ibig sabihin yan, 75% of the scores of the grade 10 STE students mathematics test is less than or equal to 84.5. Now, let us check your understanding. Find the quartile 1 and quartile 3 of the test score of 27 grade 10 students in mathematics. So, ang scores from 30 to 34, there are 3. 25 to 29, there are 9 students. 20 to 24, there are 8 students. 15 to 19, there are 5 students. And 10 to 14, there are 2 students. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell